Hello again, this is Tom with my top 5 pro wrestlers of the week. And what a week it was. We had a show tune, we had a number one contenders tournament, and I think we had the fattest luchador I've ever seen in pro wrestling. So without further ado, let's get right to it.
The Spanish announce table.
First up for the week, we have from NXT, Kashida. A very impressive win this week, beating both Tommaso Ciampa and the Velveteen Dream in a triple threat match. I think this is going to be great for both NXT and for Kashida. For NXT, this is going to be awesome because it gives you an international star that can contend for some titles. And for Kashida, it gives him some more stability to show that he can hang with the rest of the main roster. I will say I want to see a little bit more from a character development for Kashida. He's having awesome matches, but I want to know why I care to see him win. Some backstage promos, maybe even a manager would definitely help out with that. As we keep the list moving, a wrestler that made his debut on Monday Night Raw made a huge impact in my eyes, Gran Gordo. For being such a massive luchador, he was able to move around the ring like a Rey Mysterio. His luchador moves were very exciting. Another very impressive attribute that El Gran Gordo brought is he had great chemistry with Tucker. It was as if they've been a tag team for years. In all seriousness, Otis was awesome this week on Monday Night Raw. I know he's a SmackDown guy, but as he came over to help out Tucker in a tag team match, he brought a new wrinkle to a storyline that I think will end at Hell in the Cell. This El Señor Tucker I thought was really funny. Everything he did this week was really, really great. Now let's jump over to AEW. The next person on my list is the Cleaner, Kenny Omega. My two favorite parts from the debut of the Cleaner in AEW was first the introduction. The introduction had a long list of accomplishments from Justin Roberts. Kudos to Justin Roberts for getting all that in. And then it also had post-match the subtleties of Omega acting somewhat like a baby face, but then also acting somewhat like a heel. He raised Sonny Kiss's arm as if they had this 60-minute classic. It was a 2-move match. So it was really subtle, but I like what we're doing here with the Cleaner. Next up on my list, I have the Ratings Ruler. And this was probably the best segment in pro wrestling this year. I'm obviously talking about the dinner he had with Chris Jericho. It is MJF. This segment was out of the box. It was out of left field, whatever term you want. It was definitely different in terms of pro wrestling entertainment, and it was a 10 out of 10 for me. Also, low key, really quick, let's talk about how good of a singer MJF is. If this whole pro wrestling thing doesn't work out, maybe a career on Broadway? Now let's get back to the segment itself. This showed to me that line for line, MJF can hold his own with one of the greatest promo guys in pro wrestling, Chris Jericho, and that says a lot for the future of AEW. As we round out the top 5, I'm going to put in here one of the greatest punters in NFL history. If you watched NXT, you obviously know who I'm talking about. It is Pat McAfee. This is a match made in pro wrestling heaven. Larkin and Birch are great wrestlers, but they can't talk very well. And Pat McAfee, that's his best attribute. So you put these two together, and this is going to be so awesome. It was also really cool how they did the surprise. Throughout the night, the Undisputed Era was being attacked. You didn't know who it was. To be honest, I didn't think Pat McAfee would be the person. It turns out it was, and this is going to be great because he already has history with the Undisputed Era, and the tag team can add some firepower to go up against Undisputed Era. This is going to be really interesting, possibly War Games match. Also, I think this is going to be a fun partnership. Obviously, Pat McAfee does 15 different things in 15 different industries, so he can't be at NXT each and every week. So I don't think we're going to get tired of seeing him with the tag team as their manager or whatever their relationship turns out to be. I think this is going to be really cool to see how he kind of comes into NXT, leaves NXT, and then obviously is a pain in the side for the Undisputed Era. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is my top 5 pro wrestlers for this week. What did you think? Let me know in the comments below. Also, let me know who should be making this list. Is there anyone that I'm not aware of that I should be watching? Put that down below as well. And as always, thank you guys so much for the support and keep loving pro wrestling.
The Spanish announce table.